How well do you know the towns of Istria? Do you know your Buzet from your Buye, your Groznian from your Vodnian, your Labin from your Pazin? If, like me, Istria over the years has been a bit of a blur with all these beautiful hilltop towns. I came for 7 days a couple of years ago in May 2023 to do a video for the Istrian Tourist Board, during which we had 7 days of really incredible hospitality going all over this region. And we saw hilltop town after hilltop town after hilltop town. And by the end of it, we were kind of a bit tired of hilltop towns. And then we came to a town which totally blew us away, Labin. Not only for what's happening above ground in Labin, but also what's happening below Labin. And this is a town which, in my view, is bucking the trend of so many tourist towns in Croatia and is working with its heritage and its traditions in a way that is really commendable. So this is a town which is one of the most living towns in Croatia. You have a population here of 10,000 people. I don't know a single town of that size in the whole country which has at least 10 restaurants open 12 months a year. This is one of the most livable towns 12 months a year. Tourists come, yes they come, and tourists are very welcome. But actually, talking to the local authorities, less than 50% of the income for the town comes from tourists, and they have a very strong IT industry, a lot of production going around here, and they don't want to become the next Dubrovnik. In fact, if you look at the old town, which is very picturesque, you have over 80% of the buildings in the old town are lived in by local people. You have a maximum number of 15 Airbnbs in the whole of the old town. You have a full-time population in this tiny old town of 350. Compare that to Dubrovnik, where the population today is somewhere less than 500. You go into the old town, you can't really find a cafe, restaurant, hotel, but basically it's given over to residents, cats, art galleries, museums, culture, heritage. It's one of the most beautifully decorated in terms of colour old towns that I've seen in Croatia. And I'm here in the beginning of March, and we've had coffee on the main square this morning, and it's very lively, and it's got a very good local vibe. But it's not just locals, and so you have this very inclusive mindset here. They celebrate Christmas, they celebrate Bayram, they celebrate the Orthodox holidays as well. And in an age of diversity, it's really refreshing to come to a place like this, especially in Croatia, where there is such diversity and inclusion. So much so, in fact, that in 2023, Labin was named as the second most diverse and inclusive small town under 30,000 people in Europe. And quite ironically, even though we have this diversity and acceptance, we also have the only US Marshal in the whole of Croatia in the same place. To find a place this picturesque, which is not only not overrun, but locals are trying very hard to make sure it's not overrun, is very refreshing. And as you walk around the old town, as you see, this is a very vibrantly painted. It's got a really strong art culture. It really has this feeling of people wanting to celebrate their heritage, but also to enjoy the lifestyle here, because this is an extremely good place for living, and foreigners are coming. It's one thing for me as a visitor to come in and say what a great lifestyle we have here in Labin and the atmosphere. It's quite another to hear from somebody who has not only embraced that lifestyle, but actually moved here and made her life here. And it was really good to catch up with Melissa Paul, who made a little bit of history 4 years ago when she became the first ever person to get the new Croatian digital nomad visa. And she's been based in Labin ever since.
So why Labin? So I came to Croatia 10 years ago with my then husband. And when we stumbled on Labin, just driving up the old town road into this beautiful, colorful, Venetian-feeling town. But it was amazing from the beginning. And then when we walked through this old town and we found this house, it was instant. And I cried on the steps. I knew it was my house and my place to live. And it's been amazing. And when you look at all the beautiful streets and the art that's around and the culture of art, It mixes beautifully with the industry that's here and the year-round living, and the kindergartens seem to be full. It just feels like people want to be here and they want to invest in here, in their life, in their homes, in their businesses, and I can't imagine being anywhere else. I mean, I'm above the sea, but not on the sea. I have so much nature around me, and it's just been a wonderful 9 years of living here. So I can't recommend Labin enough.
Probably the most picturesque part of the old town is where I'm standing now, and behind me you have the 17th century Baroque museum, which is home to an archaeological collection, traditional clothing, and also the history of Labin. But what really sets it apart from other museums is what you find below in the basement. Let's go take a look. And so here we are inside the museum, and this is another part of Labin history which is preserved very well today. This used to be a huge mining town, and there were over 100 square kilometers underneath where they were mining. Mining here started back in the 18th century. It stopped in Labin in the 1970s, and the final mine in this area was closed only recently in 1999. And if you come into the museum, you have this replica where you can go down and actually experience what it's like. You get your hard hat on and go down there, and it gives you a little bit of a glimpse of to what it's like. And also you can go and visit this memorial centre as well, just to learn a little bit more about this fascinating history. So for me, a symbol of this commitment to the local population over tourism and lifestyle is just down from the museum. Behind me we have this prime piece of real estate. It's a kindergarten for 22 kids from the old town itself and the surrounding area. So you have life in the old town with all these kids. This is one of 7 kindergartens all around the town that in different locations that the city has operating. They're finishing off the 7th one now. And when that's finished, there's going to be 100% availability for all the kids of kindergarten age in Labin. This square to me is really a symbol of what Labin's about. Here you have a theatre to my right, which is run by the Italian minority, one of many minorities supported here. Behind me you have this artwork of this famous local artist, and this was actually he was a mentor to many of the artists today, and this is his regular spot where he used to sit, and so he's been immortalised here. And as you walk around Labin, you see lots and lots of these local characters celebrated in art this way permanently. And what I really like about this square is it really comes to life with locals. And so along you have like a bench behind, you have a couple of cushions. There's a wine shop over here where you can actually buy the bottle of wine. They give you for a reasonable price, they give you a couple of glasses and you can sit out. And then they also have this wonderful souvenir shop, and they've done this thing for Valentine's, this bench. And when I was there a couple of years ago, they were in there playing the guitar for us. And so it has a really cool, laid back artist, but distinctly local feel. Croatia is a very homogenous society, and it's quite rare to find a big concentration of foreigners here in the country. And one of the things that's really surprised me about Labin is that about 50% of the local population has foreign roots. A lot of those came from places like Bosnia to work in the mines 50, 60, 70 years ago. And I found myself in this really quite amazing wine shop called the Wine Mine, which has its reference back to the roots. And they've moved from Paris to Labin to reconnect with their roots and to bring really high quality French wine and a really good selection of Croatian wine into a quite outstanding wine shop. Let's meet them.
Mismo Christelle y Alain. Mismo is Parisu. My father was working here some decades ago in the mine. Then went to France. We decided to come back because of this legacy. We found here peace, so we decided to change from the noisy and crowded city of Paris to come here and has a new life based on wine, pleasure, sun, the sea, and so on. And Labin is a wonderful city with this old city.
One of the things I really like about Labin is the way that they celebrate their heritage while using that heritage for more practical reasons for living in the 21st century. So here we are at the main area where all the miners went down into the mine. Behind me you see this really interesting time frame of the history of mining in Labin, starting back in the 17th century. Over here you have the administrative building as was. Today that's the library. Now we have this EU funds project, which is going to call Underground City 21, Reality or Utopia. And this is going to transform this former mining center into a major digital creation hub. And that balance between the needs of the future versus the heritage of the past is, I think, one of the nice secrets about why Labin works as well as it does. One of the key areas of infrastructure investment over the last 10 years in Labin has been in its sport and its sporting infrastructure. And so you see behind me this great modern sports centre which was opened a few years ago. There's also been football fields and playgrounds. But one statistic really stood out in this era of iPhones and phone addiction and everything else, and that is that no less than 50% of all school kids in Labin belong to some kind of sporting club. It's so nice to see a town which is focused more on its local inhabitants and making their lives better than going for the tourist dollar. One of the things I really like about Labin is its open spaces and how they combine things like heritage and culture with their open spaces. And so, for example, here we have a park right in the centre of town, which is the Mining Heritage Monument, which was originally put there 40 years ago and has recently undergone this really nice reconstruction. It's a really nice place now for people to meet, so picnics and families to come out, and just a nice reminder of the heritage to this town. And now we've come a couple of kilometres outside into a really, really chill zone. It's the Sculpture Park Dubrava, and here you have a really interesting ongoing project which started back in 1969 with its conception, and the park opened in 1970 with 3 sculptures. Today we have over 90 sculptures. Every 2 years they invite guest sculptors to come in, and locally in Pazin you have this quarry which has this Istrian stone which is most of the sculptures here. And these guest sculptors come in and they actually sculpt in front of you. You can come out here and see their work going on, and then they're added to the park. But it's also a super, super chill place to come. Families come out here for picnics. All the sculptures are available to touch, so you can play with them and so on. And in the middle we have this beautiful white road, it's called. And this symbolizes the division between the two territories. You have Labin over this side, and then you have Sveta Nedelja over here. One more commitment that the town of Labin has to its local population is the opening of the first ever old people's home in the town. And this is a facility which has been funded by the city itself and by the Istrian Regional Fund. And it's probably the biggest commitment of the town to its local population. There are 50 inhabitants. They all have a room facing south side towards the old town of Labin as their view. There are 42 staff here, so you've almost got a 1-to-1 ratio. It feels like a 4-star hotel, actually. It feels very modern, very clean. You have some really nice outside space here. This to me is a huge wow. And this almost sums up the feeling I've had today of this sense of community as a great lifestyle place, of the local community looking after each other. It's been a really, really educational day from that point of view. And when I grow old, I'd like to be here. And so after a strenuous day chilling in the old town of Labin and around, for me, one of the real jewels of the tourism offer and the lifestyle offer is its partnership with the neighbouring community of Rabac. So you have all the trappings, for those who want it, of tourism. You have 18 hotels here. You have what used to be a small fishing village which really expanded in the 1960s with its tourism, and today is a really, really chill place to be for family holidays. If you come in the beginning of March, the beaches are empty, apart from our little friend over here. And the ability to stay here, have a holiday, and then enjoy what's up in Labin, or be in Labin and come down and enjoy what's here, is something that not many destinations in Croatia offer that contrast of both things together. And I guess in conclusion from today, I would say that this is a very rare place in Croatia, from my experience, where you can actually come here for 2-3 days, a weekend, long weekend, and come and do a lot of walking. There's got some great hiking trails, a lot of culture. It's a town of 10,000 people with 10 restaurants open throughout the year. And there's definitely a lot of life and local life here. And for somewhere to get away when things are a bit quiet on the coast, I think Labin is an absolutely excellent choice. And it's my second time here. I was really, really impressed the first time I came. I leave today even more impressed than I was last time, having learned a lot more about the place. And I love the fact that you've got something like Rabac here for the tourism. You've got Labin for the lifestyle, and the combination of the two is magnificent.